Hello, lovelies. Corey here. Welcome back to my channel. We have our very first indie publisher spotlight video. So I had mentioned in a couple past videos that this is something that I want to do going into 2020. I want to do videos talking about different occult indie publishers that I found, that I've purchased books from. In addition to reviewing the books, I kind of wanted to do standalone videos where I talk about the publisher, one of the reasons why I purchased books from them in the first place, how you can get books from them, my experiences with shipping, customer service, the actual quality of the books themselves, not just in terms of construction and printing and binding, but also in terms of quality of the content within the books and the manuscripts that they choose to publish. And then talk about some of the books that I have from them. And we're starting with Aeon Sophia Press because, well, I have the most books from them. So if you couldn't tell, kind of fond of the guys. So we're gonna dive right into it. So this is gonna be the first of many that you'll start to see on this channel. I may have to take off my nice Mr. Rogers sweater here because it's getting a little hot in my office, but we'll just roll with it, okay? So let's talk about Aeon Sophia Press for a moment. These guys are based in the Netherlands. That's where they print and bind all of their books as well. As much as I love purchasing from companies in the US, honestly, if you want really good occult esoteric books from an indie publisher, you have to look outside the US. That's just, it is what it is. It's a fact. And because of that, shipping's going to cost a little bit more. But I'm going to talk about the fact that a lot of these publishers, like Aeon Sophia Press, do have retailers based in the US that you can purchase books from to kind of, lower some of your shipping costs. Okay. There's some books here that I've purchased directly from Aeon Sophia Press. And there's some books here that I've purchased from Miskatonic Books, which are fabulous as well. Thank you guys. And, I've also had some books sent to me from Aeon Sophia Press. They sent them to me. And they came so well wrapped. Is one of the first things that I want to talk about with this publisher is that in all of my interactions with them, purchasing from a third party, purchasing from them directly, getting books sent to me, they care about the books they produce so much. And you're going to find that with pretty much any small publisher. I mean, that's why they're in business to begin with, is because they want really great works out there, right? But these guys care so deeply about the works that they produce. You can see the care that goes into the selection of the manuscripts that they choose to produce. Now, I have two piles in front of me, okay? I have books that I have that are really great, like reproductions. They're facsimile copies, okay? And then I have a huge old stack of books over here, which I can't lift up, but that are original works, okay? Both types of works, a lot of love and care, you can tell, has gone into the works that they select, how they reproduce them, getting, especially in the facsimile copies, getting the reproductions to fit to the size of the, dimensions of the books that they want to reproduce without losing the integrity, and the quality of the grimoire manuscript that they're trying to reproduce, right? the gold foil, the bindings that they choose, the introductions that they place at the beginning, these like just really nice matte end papers, black end papers too. A lot of care has gone into each one of these books. And you can just tell that, you know, by holding one. So, you know, 2020 marks the 8th year anniversary for Aeon Sophia Press. Again, all of their books are printed and bound in the Netherlands where they are. These are heirloom items. You know, these books are made in such a way that they're going to last you for years. And don't get me wrong, these are not books that you purchase, right? And just kind of sit on a shelf for you to be like, hey. I mean, obviously, they're beautiful. They're works of art in and of themselves. But, you know, they're not, it's not just gibberish that's being printed in here, right? These books were meant to be used and worked with and pored over and, you know, dove into. The reason why they're so beautifully crafted and beautifully bound is so that, you know, you crack them open and you read them and you work with them, right? These are practical books, okay? They just happen to be beautifully made. So that's one of the things that I really wanted to impress upon, you know, anyone who's going out there and looking for, you know, occult and esoteric books to purchase for, you know, expanding upon your craft practice, and especially supporting indie publishers. You know, it's one thing we buy paperback books, we tend to really dive into them, use them. They sit on the sink, you know, as we may be brushing our teeth and, you know, half holding a book, half brushing, still reading in the wee hours of the night, sitting on our bedside tables. You know, we tend to dive into those a little bit more, you know, with reckless abandon because, you know, they're paperbacks. Some of us may treat our paperbacks a little bit nicer than others. I go ham. I'll write notes in the margins. I dog-ear them. I do all those things that everyone's like, about paperback books. So when I get a hardback, I know that there's a tendency, especially at least for me, to just be like, ooh, and treat it with this reverence and kind of like set it on a shelf and maybe take it out and read it once, but then never touch it again and put it back. But I really get that these books were meant to be used and they're meant to be loved. And yes, while they're crafted really well, the reason why they're crafted so well is so that they can stand the test of time and stand the, you know, multiple reads through the late night workings in ritual circle where you have the book open, you know, on your table as you're referencing something, you know, maybe taking notes in your book of mirrors, your journal, whatever have you. You know, these were meant to be read. Okay? They're meant to be read. You're not just buying a really gorgeous $65 paperweight for your bookshelf. At least I hope you're not doing that. But that's one of the things that I wanted to kind of, you know, talk about first within each one of these indie videos is just, you know, the quality of the actual bookbinding, yes, but the quality of the content as well is something that's very, very important. And one of the reasons why I purchased all of these books to begin with, and am so grateful that the ones that were sent to me, because they will be used. Absolutely. They will be read, they will be worked with in a practical manner, etc. Even the reproductions, you know, of these grimoires, yes, they will be studied. You know, as far as experience and how all of my interactions with Aeon Sophia Press have been, they've been amazing. They just have been. Everything that's been shipped to me, whether they sent it to me on their own or whether I purchased it, has been carefully wrapped in bubble wrap, just, you know, tissued up, made sure that it was going to get from the Netherlands to the US safe and sound. And these books did. They made it perfectly well, you know, and our postal system can be kind of brutal. stuff gets tossed around. I've had books shredded, you know, in coming over to me, and these were all treated with so much love and care. They arrived completely unharmed. They shipped in just a few days as well. So shipping was actually pretty great. The books that I purchased from Miskatonic Books, they arrived right away, like shipped out the next day and got here like super quick. And it was during the Christmas rush too. So I was really kind of impressed. And then the books that I purchased from Aeon Sophia Press, I made an order in, let's see, sometime over the summer. That showed up right away. The books that they sent to me in December showed up right away. Yes, there are several days of getting through customs and things like that. But when it comes to like an overseas package, where I've had some packages take like a month or more to like ship out, these came relatively quickly. Okay. So wanted to talk about that as well. As far as pricing, these are really great price. So these books are going to run you, and be aware on the website, the prices that you're looking at are euro, okay? So not US dollars. If you're purchasing from the US, do that conversion in your head, because it may say 65 on the website. It's going to be about 75 for you in terms of US dollars. So make sure you have a conversion calculator up when you're looking for that, so you're fully aware of how much you're actually spending and you don't go ham over your budget or, you know, whatever have you, or get upset when you look at your, you know, statement and you go, wait a minute, how much should I pay for that book? So something to keep in mind, US folks. All right. And the books that you're getting, like I said, the standard editions, oh my God, this is a standard edition of Asaka Luxa. Got this gorgeous gold foil here on the front, and it's this, you know, wonderful cloth binding. The deluxe editions are just simply magical. So this is Saturn Rising. Gorgeous gold foil everywhere. This binding, this yummy buttery leather cover. Just beautiful book all the way around. Block paper, just super gorgeous. Absolutely stunning. So whether or not you're getting a standard edition or you're paying a little bit more for the deluxe, you're still getting really, really amazing quality books, you guys. And that's even over and above, you know, some other small indie publishers. And I haven't really decided whether or not I'm going to do spotlights on them yet, because I haven't had great experiences with them in terms of the quality of the printing of the books that they're choosing. Also, some of their manuscripts just seem to be like, you know, they want to pick whatever sells, I guess. You know, their selection as far as choosing manuscripts, the quality of the printing, and then the price that they ask for, you know, there's still some indie presses out there that, you know, really are just kind of in it to make money, and you can tell. This is not one of those companies. Yes, absolutely, they would like to be profitable. You know, they don't want to go down. They want to, you know, be able to make money so that they can keep producing books. But you can tell that they got into the business because they want to produce books, right? So that's the experience that I've had with them so far. Oh, their website. Okay. If I had one thing to nitpick about Aeon Sophia Press, it would just be the updates to their website. Because one of the things that I find a little bit frustrating is that in navigating their website, once I figured out where to go for everything, that was no problem. It's not anything super flashy, but I kind of appreciate that. They spend more attention on, you know, talking about their books, and here's what you're getting in this book, you know, describing the materials used to make it, you know, posting reviews on their website as well. But the front page still has an advertisement for the pre-order of this book, which opened up in April. The book came out and started shipping out in May of 2019. So the pre-orders opened, like, I think April 12th, and that advertisement is still there. And meanwhile, there have been 2 other pre-order books that have come and gone, right? And didn't have any advertisement at all on the front page. Now, granted, I follow Aeon Sophia Press on social media. I follow them on Instagram, you know, and I'm signed up for their newsletter. So I knew about those pre-orders, and, you know, I have one of the books here to talk to you about. I've pre-ordered the most recent one, which is a second book to this guy right here, and which we'll talk about in a minute. But, like, on their actual website, there's nothing on, there wasn't anything posted for those 2 books, and the pre-order for this one is still up. So it's a really, like, nitpicky little thing. But I was like, guys, I want to talk about your books. Can you talk about the ones that are coming out and not the one that's been up there for, like, months? So I guess if I had to gripe about something, that would be the one thing I griped about. Anyway, let's talk about the actual books, yeah? So I want to share with you the books that I have and why I have them, okay? So I want to cover the Facsimile copies first, okay? So this first one that I showed you guys, this is Cypranus, Key of Hell, aka Clavis Inverni. So this is, or, you know, the longer name for it translates to Key of Hell with White and Black Magic, approved by Metatron, who is an archangel. Which is kind of an interesting title for a grimoire, right? I don't remember, you know, the date around when this book was supposed to have been written. And it's kind of weird that they think that it could have either been 1717 or 1757. But the way that the Roman numerals were written in the original copy of this book, it's kind of vague, and so it leaves it open to interpretation. Okay? Either way, 1700s. Right? And this is, we have an introduction written by A.D. Mercer, okay? And then it goes into the actual, you know, reproduction copy, right? And these are, I mean, just beautifully done. And I'm fascinated by these reproductions and just kind of wanting to dive into them, because the ones that I have are books that, and this is one that was sent to me by Aeon Sophia Press. Like, I'd never heard of this book before now. And I was like, holy cow. I have something to, you know, dive into, to look up. So that was really fun to get this guy and just see, okay, something new, something interesting. And I'm fascinated by older grimoires. Like, I love it. Turn of the century, you know, occult grimoires are just, they're fascinating for me. Oh, and especially older ones from, like, you know, the Middle Ages. Love it. Absolutely love it. And so this was another one. The Book of Good Angels by Frederick Hockley, who, again, I'd never heard of before Aeon sent me this book. Oh, and you guys, So this is supposed to be one of his handwritten grimoires. And there's, again, an introduction. Look at how beautiful, you guys. This guy's handwriting is gorgeous. And so you saw 1800s date in the front. Oh, beautiful. And the seals that are towards the back of this book are just, they're stunning. So I have more stuff to look up now. Looking up Frederick, looking up his life, which a little bit is covered in the introduction. But, you know, obviously, being as curious as I am, I'm like, I have to know more. So, just beautiful book. Absolutely gorgeous. The next one that we have, also sent to me, is the Compendium Rarissimum, Totius, Artis, Magicae. And I'm sure I just fucked that up. This is a grimoire that is dated somewhere between the 1700s and 1800s. Again, closer to, but a little bit before the date of the Book of Good Angels. Whew. And the sigils in this book, like, have me fascinated. So I'm really interested in diving into this one as well. So here we have this one. Look at this, y'all. Like, what? Oh, beautiful. God, I love weird stuff. And these sigils, like, I'm fascinated now. So now I'm here, I'm like wanting to do all of this research on all of these books to find out, like, where did this come from? And the illustrations in this book are really crazy. Like, you know, this is one of the tamer ones, right? But we have some insane stuff in here. And then actual, you know, grimoire, written portions of the book. But yeah, some of these are just, the illustrations alone are just absolutely fascinating. And just, you know, one of the things that I absolutely love about really old grimoires, especially 18th, 19th century grimoires in particular, just the weird stuff that they drew, you know, and included. It's just, it's crazy, and I love it. I absolutely adore it. So I was really happy that they sent me, you know, they sent me that one in particular, but all of the books that they sent me. Now, this one I purchased from Miskatonic Books, and this is their reproduction of The Key of King Solomon. I know, and it's so large too. So this is, you know, a pretty faithful reproduction here. So it's no longer available on the website. Sorry, guys. But the other ones that I mentioned are, okay? So we have the actual, trying to remember if this is, whose translation this is for the reproduction. because I don't think I have an introduction in here, but this also comes with this guy, which is basically a little appendix, right? That goes through, and because the script's a little hard to read, actually typed copy of what you're looking at as well. So I'm super happy that this appendix is here and available so that I could, because I'm horrible, you know, I can't see for anything, and being able to read that really flourish script, it's a little rough for me. So I was happy to have this. Happy that this was included. And it's just a, you know, paper cover, paperback copy. But I keep it in the black envelope it came in. So those are all of the Facsimile, you know, reproduction books that I have from Aeon Sophia Press. Now let's get to the original works. So a lot of the works that ASP publishes are left path books, or the majority of them are ceremonial magic based. So a traditional witch may not necessarily be too interested in really a lot of these works. However, even though, you know, my experience, my history, I'm Wiccan, I consider myself an eclectic witch and pagan. I've pulled from all over. My studies have gone from here to there, all over the place. I've studied traditional witchcraft, studied some forms of ceremonial magic, heavily studied Wicca, especially in the 90s, early 2000s. That's what I was practicing. I've joined a few different Wiccan-based covens over the years, and have also studied Celtic shamanism, Norse heathenry, just all over the map, y'all. All over the map. But ceremonial magic, and in particular left-hand path traditions, have kind of piqued my interest recently. I've been called to kind of work a little bit more with the Red Goddess, Lady Babylon, and that kind of also had me looking back into Bible passages, the Apocrypha, different, you know, books of the Bible that a lot of Hermetic and esoteric, you know, traditions have drawn from over the years, which, you know, are also really the heritage of today's left-hand path traditions. So, in me being, like I said before on this channel, I'm magically nosy. I want to see what everybody else is doing. So that's part of the reason why I picked the books that I picked over here, and also why some of the books that were sent to me were sent to me. So we'll go into it. This is one of the two books that I purchased over the summer. As I said, this is Asaya Luxa, created by God in a body of light. This was written by Vermillion. I'm sure I butchered that title. I'm sorry. This book is essentially a personal system developed by the author for the purposes of guiding the practitioner through practices for self-realization. It's about self-awareness. What did they write? To help the reader understand themselves on a soul level is what I had copied down. And so there's references to angels in here. There's references to, you know, different powers. The book is split up into 3 sections. Book 1, inside of it, covers Gnosis. You know, it talks about archangels, angels, dominions, virtues, powers, principalities, thrones, etc. It's kind of follows a little bit of a Kabbalistic pathway, you know, from just the little bit that I've read so far. I'm only a few pages in, guys, but a review will be coming. It covers the Tree of Light, 7 physical energy centers, okay, mind-body correlations, so a lot of theory within book 1. Book 2 is more of a practical application, but it goes through a lot of meditative techniques, okay? Focuses on daily ritual, focus and breath, etc. Book 3 is more ritual practicum. So I found this to be just something that really piqued my interest. And like I said, I'm only a few pages in, but I already pre-ordered the second book that Vermillion has written as a follow-up to this, called Zachiel, the Stargate of Christ. And I'm just, I don't know, like I said, when I see a book that I'm interested in, I dive head first. So I will let you know what I think about this guy once I finish reading him. The second book that I bought along with that guy, and I've talked about this guy on my channel before because I bought it and I realized I needed to know more. I was like, I don't have the theory or foundation to do anything contained inside this book. Whoops. And this is, and again, I'm going to butcher this name, Liber Thagirion, written by Seth Mason. Sorry. This is a grimoire of draconian magic. This is referred to as the Draconian Grimoire of the Black Sun. It's a left-hand path grimoire. So a lot of this book touches on rituals related to the kind of what is this called? It's an inversion of the Tree of Life, or the root night side. That's what they called it. I'm sorry, guys. I'm new. The night side of the Kabbalistic Tree of Life, or Quilputh? Cliputh. Holy cow. Forgive me, I just can't pronounce anything. I'm sorry. All right, we're going to move on. It's referring to night side or inversion of the Tree of Life. So it kind of builds off of that, and there's a series of rituals in here and invocations that kind of prepare the practitioner for really following this path, you guys. And also, it's some of the rituals center around the death of ego, which we're going to talk about in the next 2 books. But I really realized that I didn't have a lot of theory and really a foundational knowledge to be able to do any of the rituals from this book. This is a book that's probably just going to sit on my shelf for a little while until I dive more into, you know, what the system is, what people, you know, how people work within it, the context in which you would use these rituals, etc. Okay? But just know that this is a self-initiatory path, so it's not like, you know, there's not really a church or a coven you would go to necessarily to, you know, learn anything about this path. Everything that I'm picking up is from, you know, blog posts and books. Blog posts and books, y'all. So I don't regret buying it, but I haven't been able to use it. I've read it. I haven't been able to use it yet. Stay tuned on that one. This next one. This has been on my wish list for about a year, and I died. I just about died when this was sent to me by Aeon Sophia Press. This is Saturn Rising by J.T. Kirkbride. This, along with his follow-up, Into the Void, The Suicidal Initiation of Mars and Saturn, these 2 books kind of go hand in hand, are really an outline, or it's theory and practicum around the kind of veneration of death as it relates to the themes of Saturn, right? And that planetary aspect. And when we say, the discussion of suicide and ritual suicide in here, is not at all related to actual suicide. That's not what the author's referring to. He's using that term, but really it's more of a ritual initiation and a sort of death of the ego, okay? And builds off of the idea of purposefully going through and, destroying something to make room for something else. A kind of a self-guided or self-initiated epiphany, or not really an ascension. I don't know how to describe it. I think I'll be able to put it in a lot more eloquent terms when I've actually finished reading the book, both books, and can do really concise reviews for you guys. But, I follow a goddess of death and of the underworld, and death and birth have always been a very large part of my life. That transformation, that change, that initiation has always been there at the forefront of my magic and of just my daily life in general. So these two books, this was in my cart so many times, you guys. And I was like, I cannot buy this book without getting this one first. Because this is just additional practicum and ritual leaping off of this book as a starting point. So I caution you guys, if you want this one and you don't want to pick up the deluxe edition, Miskatonic Books has some standard edition copies left, I think, on their website. But I still encourage you, if you're interested in this type of work and, viewing deaths as, and I'm not talking about physical final death, I'm talking about the little transformations and initiations that we go through throughout life, and seeing these little mini deaths and kind of incorporating those themes into your magic. I really, really think that this is a great book for you to pick up. Even just reading the introduction, I was hooked. JT ends it with this line. This last line of his introduction is, "Have fun and try not to die." And if that gives you any indication of just the humor that the author, brings to this title, there's seriousness, but there's also still yet a lighthearted, feel to it, which I really loved and appreciated. So had to have this. I had to have this, y'all. Had to. Nice surprise in the package of books that was sent to me was this guy here. Because I kept thinking about getting him, and I was like, I don't know. This is written by Giles de Laval. This is Black Magic Evocation of the Shem Mephorash. Okay, which roughly translated is the explicit name of. Okay, so this is a black magic grimoire. This is a decidedly left-hand path system, but this copy is, so what you would be getting from the website now is the second edition, which I'm actually really grateful for, because Giles has actually written several books published through Aeon Sophia Press, and then he went back to this one, and for this edition he kind of added and revised a lot of the information that he had from the first edition after writing the other books, and his path evolving over the last however many years. So I feel like I'm getting a lot more of a robust copy in the second edition. You know, and it talks about tools, I mean, associations, symbols, there are rituals in here, theory and practice. I mean, this is a complete system in black magic. So something I was like, that's interesting. I don't have anything like this. I've never read anything like this. So this actually was one of the books that I was most excited that when I opened that package, I was like, oh, shoot. You know, I kept almost buying this book. And then it was like the book showed up of like, we're just going to pull the trigger for you. Now you have no choice but to read us because we're in your house. It's like the book knew that I needed to read it, and this was the only way that that was going to happen. So I was like, all right, kudos to you, book. We're getting down with it. So we'll definitely let you guys know my thoughts after reading this one. Another book that Giles wrote that I have is this guy right here. And this is, oh God, I'm going to butcher this, you guys. We'll just say that all of the book titles will be listed in the description box below. There we go. But isn't that cover wild? Oh, I love it. It's beautiful. This is an actual drawing of said cover. Y'all know how I am with snakes. I love them so much. So this guy is one of the books that was published in between his first edition of Black Magic Evocation and then the second edition. And so here's the name of the book. All right. And this one is a little bit different in that the system talked about in this book, while, you know, also decidedly pretty left-hand path. And I'm going to read this excerpt here, this description, because I don't really have any context for how to describe this book. The book is a complete system of initiation and ascension in the grades of the priesthood of the shadows of death, an order of predatory sorcerers who specialize in the practice of energy vampirism and in the necromantic conjuration of revenant phantom shades from the 11 hells of the, and there's that word I can't pronounce again, Cliffoth? So another interesting one that I pulled out and I was like, okay, all right. This one wasn't a book I would have picked for myself. And I think that's why I'm intrigued because, and especially after I read this one, if I go back and then, you know, read through this book, which is decidedly a different system, you know, I don't know. I'm interested. I'm super interested. I find a lot of these different systems super fascinating, knowing nothing about them. But yeah, all right. You got my interest. We're just going to dive in with an open mind and see what happens. So we'll let you know about that guy as well. This one, oh my goodness, you guys. Okay, second to last one. We're almost done, I swear. The Volvic Trans-Missionary. And look at this juicy red cover. It's so pretty. Okay, so this was written by Patrick Larrabee with a foreword by Shani Oates, okay, who has also written other esoteric and occult books herself. So this is the Volvic Trans-Missionary being an illumination of Gnostic revelation. And this is like a combination of art and poetry and like downloads. I don't know if I have a way to describe it other than it's just a modern grimoire. you know, and a beautiful one at that. Just absolutely freaking stunning. This book was like beautifully, beautifully made. Just stunning. From the choices of the colors used, the text, everything. It's gorgeous. This is a gorgeous book, y'all. So I was really happy to see this in there as well, in the package that was sent to me. And I love all of these books with just, like, that's our cover. It's just these really rad foil, like, images. I don't know. I love it. I'm in love with it. The last one. Oh, I was so excited to see this, you guys, because I almost bought it. And this is the 13th Path, and you can see where my bookmark is on this. This is basically the first edition of a journal that Aeon Sophia Press is printing. Please make more. Okay, now that I have that out of the way. It's beautiful. It was supposed to be printed in 2013. There apparently were some issues with trying to find a printer that could really do the artwork and essays in here justice, because let me tell you, I've flipped through this a number of times, and I've only read through a few essays so far. This book is freaking beautiful. Like, I don't know what else to say other than it's fucking stunning. It just is. From the artwork to the, and even just the, you know, the way, the design of the book, it was just done brilliantly. And unfortunately, one of the contributors to this journal sadly passed away in 2019. And so I think there was a call to really get this out to people so that we could all appreciate, you know, the gorgeous works that are in this book. You guys, it's so beautiful. It's just gorgeous. And like I said, I'm not too far in, but there are essays, there are invocations in here, there's poetry, the artwork that I've shown you. It's just really, really good stuff. And am very eager to see Aeon Sophia Press continue with the 13th Path and make more editions of the journal. I don't know if they happen to be taking submissions on for a second edition or what they're working on. I know that it was a bear to get this edition out. But if you guys can support the company, and, you know, if you're not really sold or not really sure about what to get from Aeon Sophia Press at all, I highly recommend picking up this journal. Get the 13th Path. Read through the essays, look through the artwork. You will get a wide variety of flavor on the type of manuscripts that Aeon Sophia Press likes to publish. And then you can get an idea from there on, you know, the type of works that they produce and, you know, which avenue you would like to go from, and really whether or not the manuscripts from this publisher are for you. And they may not be. I have been absolutely thrilled with everything that I've read from them so far, and I'm kind of partially the way through or all the way through many of these books. And they're just well done. They're well done. So if this is something that you're interested in, highly recommend checking them out. I will have a link below to both Aeon Sophia Press directly and then Miskatonic Books, just because If there are a few books on here that aren't available on Aeon Sophia Press's website, you can get them from Miskatonic Books. Or if the shipping happens to be a little bit too high. There are a couple of these that aren't really in print anymore, and buying them from a retailer like Miskatonic Books is probably going to be your best bet if you want to pick them up. Also, wanted to share, just because I have it. I have their book bag. I have their book bag. Look at that. Oddly enough, my kids love the art on this book bag. They do. They love it. And right now, this guy is holding my D&D stuff. Yeah. This is my D&D bag. When I go over to the nephew's house and play, this is what I take with me. And they do have t-shirts as well. I'm trying to decide whether I want the white one or the gray one, but I'll figure it out. And the next time I place an order, I'll probably throw the t-shirt in there, just so that I have it. But that was it. Wanted to share with you guys all of the wondrous offerings that Aeon Sophia Press has, talk a little bit about their company. Definitely encourage you guys to support them if these are topics that you're interested in. If any of these books piqued your interest, go out and get one. Highly recommend. We'll be talking about some other publishers soon. This is going to be a regular series. This isn't just a one-time spotlight for Aeon Sophia Press. We just kind of kicked it off with them because they're the ones that I have the most to talk about right now. But there are other publishers as well that I'm working through books with, and you'll probably see Witchy Book Reviews come up on some of their titles. And then we'll probably, as I do more research, we'll dive into spotlights on those guys. And again, cover shipping, book printing, just customer service-based stuff, ease of use of their website. There are some folks that need to be updating their website in 2020. Because internet purchases and shopping carts kind of suck. They just kind of suck at the moment. That's not really anything that the publishers have control over, but, knowing that their cart's problematic and it's something that they can work on to upgrade, I think would be a good idea. I didn't have too many issues with Aeon Sophia Press's shopping cart. Checkout seemed to work pretty fine. Didn't really have any issues there. The only thing, like I said, is make sure if you're in the US or really any other country outside of Europe that you have that calculator up. Okay, you can just Google search, conversion calculator for your currency to euro. That way you know exactly how much you're spending. Okay, guys? I don't want anybody going broke because they, watched a video from me and just kind of went ham and didn't really know exactly how much they were spending. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you guys will check out Aeon Sophia Press. I love and adore them. I love and adore the books that they produce, and I cannot wait to share with you guys a ton of witchy book reviews on these. Probably won't do a book review on every single one of these titles, but many of them you're going to get book reviews for, so keep an eye out. All right, guys? Hope you are having a fabulous, fabulous day wherever you are. Cannot wait to see you in the next video. Until then, blessed be.